Hello, Marit. Good to see you again.
Hi, ladies.
Welcome. Hello, young lady.
How's everybody doing?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
I'm good, I think.
Good.
It's been crazy. I'm like in book close hell. I don't know which way is up.
Oh, yeah.
But
Well, that's okay. We'll try to make today easy then. We're just following a simple structure and carrying on from last week. So hopefully it won't make your brain fry any more than it already is during this just during this
I'm
time of
I'm
your
I'm I'm literally down to writing notes and trying to, at least a few things so I don't feel so overwhelmed with everything that needs to get done. And I'm just like it's like if I can check off two, then I'm allowed to add two more. I can't start a list of 20 things because it like freaks me out.
I know, right?
Um, but if I'm going to be the only one here, if I
Yeah.
may ask a question.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
so Kim, this is actually, I brought up this conversation on my Chuck Anderson call,
Oh, okay.
because he brought up something super interesting and it's relating to systems. That's why I wanted to bring it up here.
Absolutely.
And it was something another client had asked, and they were also trying to build something out. And then Chuck said, why are you doing all the build out first? You should kind of see if people will even sign up for it and put them on a waiting list
Mhm.
before you do the build out. I mean, he's like, you might need to build out one little thing, but then
Mhm.
create a waiting list and then see if people or see if there's any interest, basically, I guess is the concept before
Mhm.
you do a build out for more. So that, of course, I wasn't super paying attention until that point, and then the light bulbs went off and my ears perked up and I was like, okay, explain this to me again, please. So, because I'm thinking in the back of my head, Kim and I worked through all these things I need to build out and it's on my list of things to do. Do you mean I don't need to do all of them? Like, I just need to maybe only do one thing and then see if that will. Okay, so then he's like, yes. So I guess my question is, this is a roundabout story. I just wanted to provide context.
Yeah.
Is it enough that I have obviously the one asset? Is that enough to, and it's not obviously in its final state, but I can probably tweak. I mean, I don't have instructions around it, but if I wanted to use that as
And what's the asset? You're talking about your spreadsheet?
the spreadsheet, yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
Um, could that be enough to start a waiting list? If the answer is yes, how do I go about doing that? Obviously, there needs to be a system component with a landing page and things like that so people can sign up for it. And I guess how long, if I see that there's sign up, then how long is the time span? Because I'm thinking of all of the little tasks that need to be done in order for, what would I need to do in order to make something like that or start that?
Yeah, and I mean, those are great questions. I'll let Simone answer afterward as well. So you get two takes on it, not just my
Okay.
take. But we've talked about this in some of the other calls you've been on. It doesn't always have to start with the book, right? The book is the long-term plan, but you
Mhm.
could start. We've talked about using your spreadsheet as the lead magnet, right? And
Yeah.
having that be the original source since it's something you already have created. And also in the spirit of you kind of remember even last class where or when, sorry, on the strategy and support call or I think it was the member momentum call when we started working with the idea of putting yourself out there visibility wise. And you
Okay.
were like, I don't like doing that before everything's ready to go. The idea is you're doing it now before it's ready to go, because that's what garners interest. That's what helps you test the market to see if people are interested, right?
Mhm.
That's how you get people to engage with your posts, put their hand up saying, hey, I'm interested, right? Those are the exact things that you want to do before everything's ready. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a fully built out page to engage interest. It could literally be, hey, drop the word spreadsheet or sheet below to get access to this sheet once it comes available, right? That in and of itself is getting people to raise their hand. It's literally called a hand raising post. on social media. So you don't necessarily have to have all the T's crossed and all the I's dotted before you start surveying your audience for interest, right? And the idea behind it is what Chuck was alluding to is if you build and spend months creating your course, creating all this stuff, and then all of a sudden nobody buys it, you've spent all that time, right? The idea is get the idea, which we are developing with your offer, right? And then that way you go to the chambers or you go to whoever it is you're selling it, go, hey, I've got this thing. Is this something that's of interest to you? And the minute they say yes, you go, great. We start July 1st, the week of July 1st. And now you start building week 1 content for July 1st. And then you start building week 2 content, right? You're building your content alongside of your new students. And it's how you
Okay.
sell first before building. And it's how you get interest first, right? Before building your whole everything, spending all that time and then having it not sell.
So I get that conceptually. I understand the theory behind it. And I understand what you're saying. I know for me, if I put a clock on it, I'm not sure that I can handle the stress of it. Because I'm like just a natural planner. I like to be 20 steps ahead of everything. And in this case, you're not. The concept is you shouldn't be 20 steps ahead. And that's
Correct.
a really uncomfortable place for me. And so I'm wondering, don't you still need to have like a strategy of
You do.
what guilds
Well,
build,
yeah,
when it
Of
that's what I
gets,
would say. Have that strategy, absolutely. Just don't create it yet
okay,
until
so the
you
strategy comes
you're
first.
on. Yeah. Create your strategy, outline it out, decide like what it would look like if they say yes. But then don't actually create it until they do say yes,
I
So
see.
you're
until you do
basically
get
getting your,
buy-in. Yeah.
exactly, you're basically using your first or second or third paying clients to get paid to create. It's as if they said, hey, I'm gonna pay you to build a course for me. That's
Mhm.
like, if you think about it mentally, that's kind of what it is.
Mhm.
You're basically going, okay, I'm not building it until I get paid to build it.
Mhm.
It's like asking for the money to build the website before you build the website
Okay,
for somebody, right? Like a web designer.
sure.
So you're kind of doing that, but in the coaching space, you're going, hey, I'm putting this together. Here's what it looks like. Here's module 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Are you ready to jump in and say yes? And then as soon as the first person says yes, you start building module 1. And by the time they start, your module 1 has been built out. And then while they're learning and you're teaching module 1, you are building conceptually module 2 in the background that they are coming up against, right? You're always a month ahead, for example, if you don't feel comfortable being only a week ahead. But I mean, if you've got the concept and you know exactly what you're going to be teaching in week 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, at the end of the day, it should take you no more than a day or so to put together the content. You are a bookkeeping expert, so you coming up with the concept or strategy of what you're going to teach them, like entries or whatever it is, shouldn't be hard for you to come up with the concept. It's funny because Simone and I were talking about this when we were preparing for this call. We're like, oh wow, like it's interesting how we both have a very similar background in the whole like client journey piece. So for us, it's really easy for us to get together and brainstorm and go, okay, what should we teach next? And it's like, oh, well, that just makes sense. We're going to teach the next step. And, we talked about the overarching funnel last week. We talked about this more specific for a book funnel. So what should we teach next? Oh, we'll teach how to do the first thing, the landing page, right? Like it's not hard when you know what you're doing, because then it's like, okay, what are the steps in this thing? Okay, let's teach on this step today. And then the next logical step and the next logical step. So you'll always be teaching something that's familiar enough to you that it shouldn't create stress and anxiety that much. I mean, it shouldn't, doesn't mean it's not going to. I'm not saying.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a
Yeah.
control freak. It's gonna create anxiety no matter what I do. I'm just, and that's okay. I just know myself.
Mhm.
I guess I'm trying to if I know what the plan is and I know what the steps are, it will minimize, my anxiety will still be over making sure I produce quality product, but then it's not going to be about, oh my God, what's the next, it won't be about what the next step is. It's going to be
Yeah.
about making sure it's understandable that, from a delivery perspective, it's not going to be about the mechanics of it. I feel like I need to wrap that around my head. Okay. So, but I still need.
Here's another consideration too.
Okay.
And it's something that's going to make it'll make your course and your delivery that much better. Than having it all built out ahead of time. If you build it as they're coming in, or when you've gotten buy-in and you deliver, say, that first module, then you can come behind that first module and say, okay, the next module is about this. You can even give them an outline and then ask them for questions. And then that way, when you create that second module, you're taking their questions into consideration. And now it's that much better because you're speaking directly to their questions.
I
And
love
so you're
that.
making sure to answer their questions, because a lot of times, like, we have in our heads what we want to teach, what we think they need to know, all that kind of stuff. But then they're going to tell us, okay, slow down on this part. I need to know more about this and less about that, that kind of thing. So you're going to be actually using their questions to help you create the course, and it'll be that much better. It'll be that much juicier.
I love that you brought that up, because one of my thoughts, even before this, it was just, when you get into bed at night and then you have a little time for your brain to relax, you start thinking about these peripheral ideas start kind of flowing through your head. And so one of those nights, it was like, oh, if this takes off and I got people in that truly care and appreciate what I'm doing, they're going to bring up other things that either I haven't encountered or I haven't considered. And then that's going to give me material for, I was thinking in the back of my head, for more things. But your
Mm-hmm.
point is, it's not even the more, it's if you do it as you go along, then you can kind of almost like
It
figure it
becomes
out
it
beforehand.
becomes what they always say in the UK. It becomes a lot more bespoke.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you're
I know that
literally
word, yes.
curating content specifically because you've been asked about it,
Yeah.
right? Not
And
only that,
so,
but then you deliver, like, for example, whatever your best laid plans for module 1 end up being, you deliver whatever you prepared, and then you realize, oh, wait a second, they got stuck in this spot. This spot was
Mm-hmm.
sticky. So right away, when you finish that module, you go back and you go, okay, I'm going to create a
Yeah.
handout for this, or I'm going to create something else. So the next time I deliver this content, the stickiness won't happen in
It'll
that
be
one spot.
Yeah.
But sometimes you won't know where those things are going to happen until you've delivered the content for the first time anyways.
yeah.
Yeah.
And guess what? The best part is they have
Mm.
no idea what you're going to deliver. None, nothing. They don't know.
Well, I guess my next question is, are people okay paying for something that's not built out?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Yes. It
See,
happens all the time.
Those are your founding members, right? And you tell them, hey, you're a part of my
Mhm.
founding members group, and this is why you're getting this at such a great investment.
Yeah.
You're getting this for such a great price because it's being built right now,
Mm.
literally as we speak. So you not only become a founding member, which is, there's some esteem in that, but you
Mm.
also get to have a hand in what's being taught, because your feedback is so important to me. I want to make sure this
Exactly.
is serving you at the highest level.
Mhm.
So you
I
turn
see.
what you think is a challenge into something that's a benefit for them, which is they get
I mean,
to
well, it is.
have a hand in
Yeah.
curating the content.
Exactly.
Okay. I just
Hmm.
didn't realize people would be okay to pay for something that's not
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. It happens all the time.
Huh.
Happens all the time.
Especially since the cost for them, or the investment for them to work one-on-one with you, is like the gap is so huge that
Yeah.
you're offering them an opportunity to come
twice
alongside
as-
you, you
Yeah.
know?
Twice or three times as much, but they're gonna get it at a a lower price.
Because you're now offering it in
It's
a group, you're
it's in a
offering them with some
group
weekly support, you
and
know?
it's a founder and it's yeah.
Mhm.
Which
Okay,
is all part of the offer. That's why the offer is so critical. So when we build out that offer for you, the offer is what sells the program before it's ever even built.
I see. Okay, so we need to build out the offer.
The offer is the key, not the landing pages, although we're on a tech call right now and we're going to talk about some of the stuff that goes on there. I mean, for 3, 4, 5 years, I didn't have a landing page. Why? Because I didn't need a landing page. I literally
Yeah.
never, ever. I got on sales calls. I didn't have a website. I still don't have a website. How many people asked to see my website? Did you ask to see my website? Nobody has to see my websites anymore. They
Mhm.
Google you on social media. All your pages come up. And if you're talking about what you say you do, they believe you.
They'll say it, yeah.
Right? Like you
Yeah.
go onto my Facebook, you go onto my LinkedIn, you go down to any one of my social medias, and I'm talking about book. I'm talking about attracting, nurturing, converting clients. I speak my language every day on social. So somebody doesn't need to go to my website.
Okay,
My socials become my website. They become the proof that I'm in the business that I say that I'm, right?
got it. Okay,
So don't get hung up on the landing page and the tech and the things, even though we're on a tech call right now. Those are the most important thing is you understand what you're giving and offering to somebody, the offer,
Yeah.
and that you're able to deliver on that content as it's coming up. You don't have to have it all ready before the first client comes on board. I remember when I sold this is a great example of this is when I sold my very first book coaching course to another human.
Mhm.
I remember it as clear as day because it was one of those moments where I didn't have anything ready, nothing. I had an idea, I had the offer, and that's all I had. In fact, I didn't even really have the offer when I first talked to him. So I used to go to networking events. I was living in Ottawa, like where I am now, but like closer into the city. And I used to go to in-person networking events when I was a financial advisor still, right?
Mhm.
But I had just recently written my book. So I was now published, my financial fitness playbook book. I was getting media and publicity, and I was contemplating switching to book coaching as my career instead of financial advising. And I mean, Marie, I'm sure you can relate to this. I thought people are going to think I have lost it. Like to go from 13 years as a financial advisor to a book coach, I thought, what are people going to think? They're going to think I've literally lost my mind to move from a 13-year career, right? To I'm a book coach now. Like I thought these people are going to think I'm batshit crazy, like not certifiable.
Mm.
And then I was lying in bed thinking about it one night. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like, how am I gonna make this transition? Like this is crazy. Am I making the right decision? Like I was even thinking I was crazy. Then I thought, no, Kim, you just had a literally life-changing event by writing your own book that changed the financial trajectory of your business forever. So now, instead of helping people with their personal finances, look at the book. This is me having a conversation with myself, right?
Mhm.
I was like, look at it as you're helping them write this book and it's going to help them improve the finances of their business. And the minute I wrapped that thought around in my head, that was it. I was done. The very next morning, I was going to a breakfast networking meeting, like those 8:30 a.m. ones,
I know
right?
those. I
The
go to
1 minute
those.
infomercial, yeah, and you sit down and have breakfast. And I was entrenched in my community, right? 13 years as a financial advisor. Everybody knew me as Kim, the financial advisor. And I went to that meeting that morning at in a little restaurant here, and there was one person in the whole room that I didn't know. And I'm like, okay, this is it. This is your opportunity because they won't know what you do and except for what you open your mouth and tell them you do.
Mhm.
And so when the little conversation turned around to what do you do? I said, oh, well, I'm a financial advisor, but what I also do is I help other service professionals and entrepreneurs write and publish a book that they can use to grow their business, just like I did. And this guy was like, oh my God, My business coach has been telling me for months I need to write a book. And I'm like, well, isn't that interesting? Meanwhile, I didn't know what else I was going to say. So I was like, well, we're about to sit down. So maybe we should set up a meeting. And I grabbed out my phone and I said, when do you have time this week? And we can sit down and talk more about it. And that was on a Tuesday. We set up a meeting for Thursday. On Wednesday, I literally just wrote out who the program's for, what are the modules, what are the benefits. Like I wrote out a mini offer. I put it on in my notebook. And then at the meeting on Thursday, I opened my notebook to the page I had written all the stuff down on. And I said, I hope you don't mind. I brought some notes because I just don't want to, forget anything important that I wanted to chat with you about. He's like, oh, I love that you came so prepared. Meanwhile, I'm thinking in my head, he's going to think I have no idea what I'm talking about because I brought notes. And I'm like, but I spun it the way I wanted to, right? And he saw it as preparedness.
Mm-hmm.
So the weakness that I thought of not having my shit memorized was perceived by him as being prepared. At the end of that meeting, he said yes to my book coaching program that I hadn't even thought of the pricing for yet. That's how new it was in my head. I literally mapped it out on the Wednesday.
And he didn't ask you what the cost was?
He did. He said, okay, I'm in. Let's go. He's like, how much is it? I'm like, $1,000. Just blurted it out. Like my very first rendition of my book coaching program because I had nothing. And he's like, so, okay, great. And I said, what did I say? I said, here's how I don't even think I thought out the delivery. So I said, here's how we'll deliver it. I said, I'm going to send you a lesson by email. I said, there's going to be a homework assignment at the end of the email. And when you send me back your whole completed homework, I'll send you your next email. That's literally how I rolled out program, like version 1 in emails. Like
That's
no
great.
landing pages, no payment processing page. You know what I had? One of those white square readers you stuck in the bottom of your phone. Because back then I was selling my book. Like when I was running around, I was selling my book, right? So I had a square reader in my purse. I shoved it in my phone. I swiped his credit card and took his $1,000. And I said, congratulations. I said, when would you like to start? He's like, how about yesterday? I said, how about Monday? Right? So I spent Friday, Saturday, Sunday just getting a few of the lessons prepared because I already knew my outline, right? I knew what I was going to teach from start to finish approximately. I'd also written a book, so I knew what the steps were
You
from
were
start to
further
finish.
ahead. Yeah. Yeah. You
Right?
just needed to.
But you're a bookkeeper. You already know what you need to do to help somebody manage their books. You're just doing it with a different system, but it's still all the same
Just
steps.
structuring it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just so not used to thinking about it. For me, it's work. The only people I've ever had to sell my work to were the auditors. And for them, it was just preparing overview documents that showed them where the checks and balances were along the way and walking them through it. So that's all I know how to do, if you know what I mean. It's not, I've never really had to sell the knowledge to someone else,
Hold on. Do you sell that? Do you teach that? Like how to get through an audit and like what do you need to have? And
No,
that's an offer. That's an
I,
offer right there.
no,
I mean,
I
you
mean,
can table it for right now but come back to it later. Put that in the idea file. But that's an offer. For real.
so this is why it's a bit of this whole thing for me has just been, I don't know if it's because I've never really worked for myself. It's always been, to me, my job was just my job. And the way I went about it was to just do the best that I could do. And then my mind would kick in and things that were logical to me, I figured would be logical to others so long as I presented it in a logical way. So that's all I ever did. Do good work, see the things that can be improved, and then present it logically to anyone else who asks. That was my whole life. Right? So now to take that and make it into something that's sellable is like, I would have an easier time if you asked me to get on a shuttle to the moon. it's just, do you know what I mean? It's,
Well, see, this is the thing though. A lot of people don't think of their jobs as a business, but like if you turn it around and say, your all this work that you've been doing for this company, you basically had one client
mm-hmm,
that paid all your bills, whereas now you're seeking other clients of a different, different levels in their businesses.
yeah.
You were selling your services to one client at your job. Well,
Mhm.
now you're seeking more clients, so and you're packaging what you do differently. But it's think of it as in the same way,
Yep.
when they hired you to perform the job for them, you were selling your services to a client.
And
That's
you're
a good
still
point.
selling the same service. You're just giving them an opportunity to bring alongside staff that they already have to learn from you,
Mhm.
right? And how to do it more effectively. So,
No, this is great. Thank you, ladies. It gives me something to focus on that's maybe a smaller piece than what I've been trying to do, and hopefully we'll make it go faster. So I'm ready to follow along on your lesson. I'm sorry for derailing it, but I figured if I was going to be the
Oh
only one, I
no,
might as
this
well
is
get.
great. This is like a
no,
live, we like tag team coached you just now.
yeah. I mean, it's the questions that people have, right? So I always refer back, you always know, I'll just do it again, but I always refer back to there's really only the three things you need to be really, really, really concerned about. In Simone's world, it's a slightly different. We could add the fourth because she has the retention piece, right? But to get good at business or to be good in business, you just have to develop really good skills in three areas. You need to get really, really good at attracting people into your world. You have to get really, really good at nurturing them, right? Providing excellent value as they're making their decision to buy from you. And then need to get really, really good at converting them into a client. So those are three things: attract, nurture, convert.
Mhm.
And then Simone takes it another step. She talks about retention, which is also very, very important because it's much easier to retain a client than get new ones, right? To always be seeking the new one. It's a lot
Yeah.
easier to retain the client. So I love adding that as a fourth component.
No, that to me
But
is very accurate, especially in my line of work, right? Retention is part of the package.
Mhm.
I'm just not looking for the fly by night folks. I
Yeah.
want them converted not only into my world, but then converted again to become monthly
Mhm.
sort of bookkeeping clients.
Yes.
If I can accomplish that, that would be great, right?
And the methodology that we're teaching in the form of having a membership offer, right?
Mhm.
So in my world, the membership offer is the book launch lab. In Simone's world, the membership offer is SaaS, right? So
Yeah.
Simone it has a Go High Level agency. So that's like, ClickFunnels, System.io, but in the Go High Level world, right?
Mhm.
So she has a $97 a month, get your Go High Level subscription from her, but hers is a heck of a lot different than every other you could go to Go High Level right now and spend $97 to activate Go High Level for yourself. And then guess how much support you get?
Nothing. No,
Big
well,
fat
because
zero.
all of these companies, they don't, I mean, they'll give you, the little train yourself classes,
Yeah.
which
Mhm.
don't really, I've gone through those multiple times. They don't really do much.
Nope. And then to try to get a hold of a human when you have a question is like next to impossible. So
Yeah,
what
there is
Simone's doing differently, which is like brilliant, is she has her agency and she's just offering her agency support at the same price that somebody else would just sign up for Go High Level. So for $97 a month, you still get to get access to Simone and Go High Level underneath her agency. And then she
Mm.
comes to weekly calls, right? And then of
And
course,
templates
yeah, and templates.
that
So
help you get
like,
started faster.
Mhm.
right.
And then Simone, I'm
So
assuming you're converting people to actually bring you on as a full-time project consultant, or does that not happen as part of the cycle?
It does. Like so, the if they don't want to do it themselves or customize the templates themselves, or they want they want something very different than what the templates have, then they can hire my team to actually customize or build out something specific for them.
Okay.
Mhm.
And do you find that your membership, does it convert people well into, I mean, because isn't the point of it to get people to convert them to more customized solutions?
Sometimes, because actually I have some big clients right now, and so I'm actually looking for more of the do-it-yourself clients at the moment, to be honest.
Okay.
But I do have, I do have a few people that, I'd love to have them come aboard and just have me customize and build something out specifically for them. But
And
I
I
have
mean,
a few of those.
and for like all of us, like I got into membership myself because I want to be able to take a step back and not do as much one-on-one work, right? So it depends on what stage of your business you're in. But, I think I kind of shared with you my strategy when I first started the membership. It's like 100 paying members equates to $5,000 a month that's coming into my pocket, whether or not I sign my next high ticket client.
Mhm.
Right? So that becomes the monthly recurring revenue where you don't have to worry every month where your next paycheck is coming from. It becomes that, okay, now I know the recurring revenue is coming in. Now, if I want to go and host my book at the beach retreat in Mexico, which I do once a year, I don't, I, I'm not attached to whether I get 10 people or 20 people or any people because I've got the recurring revenue that becomes my bonus income for me,
Mhm.
right? And then there's a lot of people who have those ascension programs where they really, really, really want the next level higher tiered clients. And they have a team to help support them, right?
Okay.
Could that be somewhere I maybe go later once, I don't know what's going to happen with me, with my dad and everything else. So right now I'm focused on, okay, what can I do? What can I provide that feels good to me, feels of high value, but also doesn't wear me out as a business owner because I just don't have enough hours in the day to do all the full-time one-on-one hands-on work that I used to be doing. Right? Like if you were a one-on-one hands-on client at the $500 a month level, like at a certain point in time, I only have enough room for so many of them before my
No,
schedule is then too full again, right?
it's
So
intensive. I mean,
Mhm.
I can tell you, I spent all of last week working. I brought on a new client, but this client is uh he's a specialized accountant. He does like rebuild, I forget the word, forensic. He does forensic accounting. But similar to lawyers, there's a concept called the retainer account. Well, that stuff was messed up. So he asked me to do a separate project in order to clean that up. I spent a week, all of last week, working on it. I mean, 20 hours at a completely different rate than the monthly bookkeeping, right? But I spent, yes, I mean, it ended up being, like $3,000. But the point is that it was intensive. I mean, last week I really had no time for anything else other than focusing on this project
right,
so it was 4 days of just focusing on this project. And when I do something like that, there is no room for anything else stuff. I mean, I had to catch up over the weekend. I
yeah,
Because for the other clients, so there was no, and this isn't stuff AI can do. That there's the crap I found was what I don't even know how I found it. I just can't even explain it. It was just all over the place.
right,
But it's not AI. Like you can't use AI for this. So there's no, and to, like, it all had to be done by me and had to be done by hand.
right. So at a certain point, you decide to have one-on-one clients you're willing to take on, and at a certain point, your roster is full, right? So
Mhm.
the membership allows you to be able to create recurring revenue without saying no to people, right? And only getting on a client a week with all these,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Yeah. So
No, that'd be great.
So the,
I need
to,
to,
to
as soon as,
wrap this part of the conversation is, no, you don't have to have all of the things completed before you launch and go and offer these things to somebody. You just have to have a really good concept of what does that strategy look like? Right?
Mhm.
What does your client journey look like from start to finish? You don't have to have all the pieces built though, right? Rome wasn't built in a day. So start with what does selling the vacation look like? And then we put the pieces together slowly but surely.
Okay.
So,
Right.
so
Thank you.
let's, we've got 25 minutes left, before the top of the hour. So let's kind of go over just a quick recap of what we did last week. So last week, I dropped it in the chat. We did our big overview, right? We did our overview of the book launch lab, the funnel,
Mhm.
where we talked about the top, those like 3 levels of the funnel, right? The top level is a book. It could be just a lead magnet before you have your book ready, right? So to not overcomplicate it, it's that thing you're going to send somebody to first. The thing that gets them to raise their hand and say, hey, I'm interested in the topic matter. Because that hand raising activity is the most important part. It helps your list not just become any list, but become a list of people who you've pre-qualified because they're asking for a resource that answers the question to a problem that they have. Now you know they're on your list because they have the problem you help solve,
Mhm.
right? So whether that's your spreadsheet, whether it's a quiz that you're developing, whether it's the book, whether it's something smaller, right? Before you have all of those things, it doesn't matter. For lack of a better purpose, it's the hand raiser. It's the thing that gets somebody self-selecting and as somebody who has the problem that you uniquely solve. Step number 2 in the process is starting the nurturing process. In mine, that culminates to a conversion event. So something like a workshop or a weekly training or a masterclass or a challenge, a 3 or a 5-day challenge, depending on the price point of your offer. That's how we determine what type of conversion event you have. Before you have to worry about landing pages for conversion events and all of the details of that, a conversion event could be simply, hey, why don't we get on a strategy call and talk about that? That in its simplest form is a conversion event. It's a sales call. But your sales call, as you know, should also have a strategy, right? You're not just getting someone on a call and randomly willy-nilly talking to them. You're leading them down a client journey that is the structure of a sales call. You're helping them, you know, identify where there's challenges and their struggles and their weaknesses are. You're helping them express to you what their goals are for what they're trying to achieve, so that hopefully that there's a gap between there where you can insert yourself in and go, hey, I've got the thing that can help you bridge the gap from where you are now struggling to where you want to be, where you've said you want to be. And it's called insert name of program, right? In my world, it's, hey, you've got a lead generation and a client conversion problem where it's not consistent, it's not predictable. And I'm going to help you write a book, host a workshop, and help you tweak your system offer so you can start getting clients consistently, predictably, and on autopilot. Right. And I teach all of this inside of the book launch lab, if that's something you'd like some help on. Right. So what are your 3 components? And we went over that. And I'm pretty sure you're fairly clear on yours, right, Marie, at this
Yes.
point? Yes.
I think so.
So the next handout that we worked into after that one then was the one where we got a little bit more detailed. So that one, if I drop it into the chat, looks like where
I
is
didn't
it?
see
The book.
anything in the chat, and I thought you dropped something in before.
I did. Is it not there?
No,
No.
Okay, all right. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
that's okay.
I didn't hit the send button. So I see it in my chat, but you don't see it in yours because I didn't hit the send button. So that's the one where I just did the quick little overview, right?
Oh, yes,
The-
I have
the
that.
3
Okay,
steps.
good.
Your
Yes.
lead magnet at the top of your funnel, your conversion event at the middle of your funnel, and your offer into your membership program at the bottom of the funnel. And then the next thing that that we went over and we just kind of started on last week was the more detailed book funnel framework.
Yep.
Okay, so that's your book landing page, possibly an order bump, possibly a couple of upsells, then a thank you page saying, hey, thank you for, opting in. Here's what to do next. and a series of emails. So today what we'll focus on is what goes on that book
The very
offer.
first one.
Yes, the very first one. That's all we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
So again, not to overwhelm or do anything. We're just going to go one step at a time. Then next week we'll talk about the thank you page. And then the following week we'll talk about some possible order bumps and upsells. And then the following week we'll talk about the nurture sequence. So you're going to just keep coming back and step by step by step. You don't have to worry about anything or get stressed out. We're just going to lead you down the pathway of all the things that you eventually need. Okay. So I've also got a resource for today. So I'm going to drop that in here right now. And we're just going to start going through it. It's the book sales page copy blueprint. So what needs to go on a book sales page? So Simone, do you want to bring up, why don't we use my book sales page as an example, since we created it together. And then we can go through each of these components based on what's on my book sales page. Okay. And Marit, as you know, you are very good at using AI, but this is something then you can, go you could take a screenshot of, my book sales page if you want. You could go and look at other book sales pages, from competitors, and you can go identify these items and components inside of a book sales page, and then you can drop it into AI and have AI write all the pieces for you for yours. And again, thinking a little bit more strategically, it doesn't have to necessarily be your book so far because we don't have that yet, but you already have an outline, right? Because your outline for your book is the same as the outline for the program. It's your 6 modules become your 6 chapters. So realistically, you don't have to have your book ready before you could create something like this. You could create this as the pre-sale page, like put your name and email in here and for when I have the book ready, right? And you can get them to pre-order it if you really wanted to, right? Some of the things might be missing from here if you were to do it that way. But realistically, you could also create a social media post that just says this. Hey, you could create a front cover of your book, and then you could go, hey, do you want to be on the list for when my book comes out? If so, drop, book or drop whatever in the comments below, and I'll put you on my list for when my book is ready, right? So there's more than one way to do this where it doesn't necessarily have to be a landing page.
But this concept can also be used for the membership like waitlist sign up, right? Okay.
Absolutely. It could also be used for your spreadsheet. If you want to, instead of putting in a book, this could be grab the spreadsheet. The new spreadsheet,
Yeah.
this spreadsheet's going to help you do this, and we'll go through the components. So, the components being, put up my handout. We start with the headline, right? So in my world, it's wait a second, sorry.
The title of the book.
Is this the one we did based on this template?
I'm not sure if
Oh,
we
yeah.
had the template when we built this, but
Okay, I'm not
this
sure if I
is the
had
funnel.
I'm
the
not sure if
landing.
I had the work page or not. But you'll see, obviously, if you have a title for your book, like that's my title of my book at the very top, right? The headline is the big title. And then the big promise is next door to it, right? So this new book is going to show you how to grab attention, create interest, and turn curiosity into clients using the power of a good hook. So this was a book that I wrote to help people stop the scroll, right? And be able to command attention online, because especially in today's world, getting attention on social media is a tough gig right now, right? So I used this to help people really powerfully understand the concept of hooking your audience and getting and creating scroll stopping content. Okay. So you'll see some of the other components as Simone is scrolling. We've got the book, of course, on the left-hand side and the order form on the right-hand side, right? With the promise. And then we've got a section on what you're going to learn inside of the book. right? So here's what you'll discover. And you'll see this everywhere on anything you land on. It always talks, even in a course, here's what you're going to learn, right? So usually, typically, 5 to 7 bullets max on what they're going to learn by either downloading the book, downloading the guide, could be a checklist, right? It could be a video training series, it could be a mini course, it could be whatever, but you want to teach your client what they're going to learn by downloading the book. So in my case, the anatomy of a hook, 17 hook categories. So what I did is I've been collecting hooks over the years, and I ended up putting them all into ChatGPT and say, hey, could you categorize these for me? And it did. And it was like, oh, these are the psychological hooks. These are the this kind of hooks. These are the this kind of hooks. And I'm like, ah, and then it gave me categories I hadn't even thought of, because most of them are based on psychology. So it gave me the categories and why the psychology works, right? And then it also gave me, I said, give me an example for a business coach, a life coach, a relationship coach, a fitness coach, blah, blah, blah. And so then I made it give me examples for each of those categories. So I included those. That's where the 10 different categories came from, right? And all the real world examples. So, it was 8 different industries. So I have 8 different industries there that I created hook examples for. So I tell inside of the book the hook category, explain why it works. Then I'd give 8 examples for the different categories, and then I had a space where they can go in and figure it all out for themselves. So that's a really important section. Of course, it doesn't reveal all the content, but it reveals it from a marketing perspective, right? And then I think, can you go to the bottom of my screen, Simone, where it, after you click on the big green button? So the button, even the call to action on the button is important content, right? Yes, I want the 170 client attracting hooks now, right? And then I used testimonials. So I went to some people and gave them advanced reader. So this is a question I get asked a lot, by the way, is how do you get testimonials if you haven't written the thing yet? Or if you haven't worked with somebody for it?
That.
I knew you would. So what I usually do is I gave a few people advanced reader copies. Okay. So I was like, hey, or I invite somebody, a lot of the ways that a lot of the trainers that I go on is they would host, which I could have done, but I did, is you could host a workshop on, a hook writing workshop, invite a bunch of people, teach content out of the that is going to be in the book, get the testimonials from that and use those. Right.
Right.
So there's so many ways to get testimonials. If you've got testimonials from clients who used a strategy that you've used, so it's a easy way to put testimonials inside too. So for people that you've already worked with in bookkeeping, for example, it doesn't always have to be specific examples about the book, but it could be somebody who is an expert, or, like for me in this example, it could have been somebody who I know is really great at marketing and who gave a testimonial about the power of having a really great hook to stop the scroll. Doesn't mean I taught them how to do it or the book did, but they know the importance of the strategy. So there's more than one way to get testimonials, right?
Okay.
You can also have a section, which I have in that worksheet, on who's this for and who's it not for. But again, that becomes then a complicated sales page. I just wanted something quick and easy, right? Simone, did you have something to add to that?
Yeah. So a lot of people, they don't know like the difference between a website and a funnel. This page is a funnel page, and it's different from, say, a page on your website. Usually a page on your website will have, you may have your logo up here, and then there's a menu to look at some other things. And then there's a footer down here with some other links. But on a funnel page, and sometimes they call it a landing page or a squeeze page, all of your focus is on this one item, on this one thing. And there is no place else to go, no other decisions to make other than yes or no on this book. So there's no header, there's no navigation up here, there's no footer at the bottom. Sometimes you can put a footer, like, and like put a copyright statement or something, keep it super simple. I tend not to put any links in it. Um,
Okay.
if you do put a footer. So sometimes like you'll get a template, like my high level has funnel templates and website templates, and they're all kind of jumbled in together. And so you'll say, okay, I want a funnel template, and it'll come with the menu bar at the top. You'll want to take off the menu bar, because if this is a funnel, you want to focus everybody's attention on one thing, and that is this book or this giveaway or this, whatever you're selling. Um, and their only decision on this page is yes, I want the book, or no, I don't want the book. And that is it. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Except for the
So,
order bump, which is one other
except for
thing
the
I
order
do
bump.
have here, which you
Yeah,
don't
no, I
even have
see
to
it.
have.
I
Mhm.
see it.
Yeah.
So
So
that
this
is,
is like it goes along with the book, and we have it where it's checked by default, but you can uncheck it, and then the order total is just $7. A lot of times the order bump is designed to help the person who is sending paid traffic to this page to pay for those ads. It's not priced to make a big profit or anything. It's just, hey, let me pay for bringing you to this page. So, if you get this order bump, that's, it's helpful to the book, right? It's helpful to that thing, to the thing that you're looking at,
Oh,
and
so
it's low cost.
Simone, so are you thinking of this in terms of, because the words you just said, I wasn't sure what they meant until you said something else. Am I understanding correctly that you think of the order bump as covering basically client acquisition costs?
it does.
Yeah,
Okay,
a
It's
lot of
supposed
times
to.
that's what people use it for.
got it.
Hmm.
So it was a low ticket. In this case, this is a low ticket offer funnel. Because I'm actually getting people to pay for this book, $7. So I also have places where I give my books away for free, right? But
Okay.
when I'm using paid advertising, I'm sending people to the top of this page because they're
Mhm.
buying the book for $7. It's kind of like that free plus shipping book funnel
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
that people use. And it's designed to create profitability at the top of your funnel. And if not profitability,
At
at
least
least break
break
even.
even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
designed when you're sending paid traffic to the top of the funnel so that your average cart order pays for the cost of the lead. So your net ad spend is zero
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And
or
this is
profit.
it's easy for a cold traffic. Cold traffic is traffic that they're not necessarily aware of you. They may be aware of their own problem that they're having, but they're not necessarily aware of you. Um, but since it's $7, and then the bump is $27, it's an easy sell for a cold audience. You don't want to send a cold audience to say something that you're selling for, $100 or $500 or something like that. They don't know you well enough yet to say, I'm going to trust you to buy something of this magnitude.
I see.
Unless, they're seeing maybe a series of ads where they're seeing you, they're seeing lots of videos, they're seeing lots of testimonials, they're seeing like a lot of different things.
Mhm.
And in that way, then yeah, they may buy a higher ticket item. Um, but you're going to pay more for ads in that way. Um,
I see.
and you're going to have to run a lot of them.
And what we're going to show you
They get to
in the
know you.
upcoming classes is how then this leads to a conversion event and an offer to join me in a training to learn how to implement the strategy,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And then once they do that, now they're in my funnel, right? They're in
Yeah.
my book to event to offer funnel.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
so that's kind of where we're headed on that. We've got 5 minutes left. So, what I would suggest for you, Marit, is, you may or may not want to, take that worksheet that I dropped, that PDF that's in the worksheet. And you could test it out in ChatGPT or Claude or whichever LLM you're using with your either one of the titles that we created for the book, right? Potentially title and subtitle, because you could mock up a book cover, right? Or have ChatGPT mock up a book cover, or you could try it with the spreadsheet. What is the big promise that the spreadsheet will help them solve, right? Maybe it's the quiz. In fact, you could create a project inside of ChatGPT on your landing page. And here's how I want you to always create. Here's the components I want you to always create for my landing pages, which is that PDF document.
Yeah, no,
Right.
I pulled up the PDF document, so I can basically take this into the same chat where the micro offer got generated and
Yes.
then have it give me
A sales page.
components for the
Yep.
sales page.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then don't forget your micro offer, which is the course, will become like, I think it did 6 modules. Do I remember that
I
correctly?
think it was more than 6.
Okay.
But we might need to change. Well, the course is the membership, basically, right?
Basically, but not
or
quite.
Are you thinking of
The
the mini
offer,
course?
so your offer is, so I know in the world of that ChatGPT, or that custom GPT we used,
Yeah.
they call it a micro offer, but
Yes.
that's just one component of your offer, actually. Your membership offer is the course inside of the membership, right?
Yes.
Plus, so think about the book launch lab, right? The offer is not only the classroom.
So I can see.
Yeah, okay. So your offer inside of your membership will be not just the course, which sits inside of the classroom, but you have to decide what's going to sit inside of the calendar, right? Your training calls.
Yes, we
Right?
knew that much. The calendar is going to get the 3 training calls a month.
Yep.
And then the classroom is going to house the
micro offer.
the mini course,
Yep.
for lack of
The
and
micro
that's the
course.
one, and that's the one you said we're going to build out one module at a time.
Correct.
And then there is the assets, which I'm not sure where they're supposed to sit. Well,
Those will sit inside of your lab once you so for example, if like this, like right now, inside of the classroom, inside of the book launch lab, inside of the thing called like the tech calls, there'll be a tech call on sales page creation. And I'll put that PDF that I just dropped in the chat will go in the classroom alongside of this training call on how to use the PDF.
okay,
Right?
I see.
So anytime you have a resource, it just goes alongside of whatever training you did for it. So as you're doing trainings live, you can be putting them in a vault called your training vault, which is the course inside of the membership. You'll have your core curriculum, which is that micro course, the mini micro course. That's your main core curriculum. But you'll also have your book, which is really those modules of the course turned into chapters in a book. It's just reformatting.
Yeah, I still need to map all those pieces out. I'm not as connected to them as I should be yet. You know how like when you connect to pieces of information, then you can you feel it, you know it, you can see the logic. It's just all natural, becomes all natural. I'm still struggling with those pieces, like to wrap my head around them and where they would go. But in my case, using the spreadsheet, so since that's something that is going to be the baseline, almost for every conversation that's going to be on the calendar, shouldn't that be in its own spot in the membership? Or
it could be anywhere.
Really?
It could be in a section called resources, right?
I see.
Where somebody's resources are. So think about, for example, think about the class inside of the classroom right now called Tiny Habits, Big Results. The very top section of that classroom is the resources that you need. It includes the checklist, it includes the list of tiny activities, and it includes I forget, there's a third resource. There's 3 resources though. Those are the top of the course.
In the classroom?
Correct. So at the top of the classroom, you'll have resources, and your resources will be the spreadsheet,
Okay.
right? The Zoom link to your Zoom
Yeah.
calls. Those things that they want to find all the time really fast, go
Mhm.
at the very top,
Okay.
right?
So it's the classroom and then it's the calendar. Got it. Okay.
And then likewise, your spreadsheet could be used as a lead magnet, your book can be used as a lead magnet. You know, you could create a training on the module 1. It doesn't even have to call it module 1. Like you could, every one of your modules could turn into its own lead magnet,
I see what you mean.
right?
And then you use those lead magnets with different advertising to bring people into the membership?
Or on your social media, it could just be
Yeah.
like, hey, today inside of the lab or inside of the club, right? The
Yeah, the chamber
chamber club.
books, chamber
Yeah.
books
Yeah.
club.
Today inside of the chamber club, we're talking about this, right? And then that training in and of itself, standalone, could be a lead magnet because you find out who raised their hands. Oh, that's training I could see value in attending, right? So ideally, you'll have your membership calls, but you'll also have a call where you're doing free trainings to invite other people to start getting a feel of what you're talking about inside of the club, right?
I see.
Again, you might be a couple of steps ahead, but remember 3 things. Your offer, which we haven't fully designed yet, but your offer will consist of, hey, join the club. Here's what you're going to get inside the club: the course, all the calls, the resources, right? The community to chat with other people, the trainings. Here's what you get inside the club. Your offer is the club, but your club is more than just the course,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So do you see how the difference is? Because you were like, isn't the course the membership? No, the course is not the membership. The course is just one piece of the membership.
Got it. So
The membership is also the training calls you have, their ability to talk to each other, community inside of community. It's access to you, right?
got it.
And then today, which could be maybe a little bit more than you're ready for, like the tech calls just might be not really quite where you're at yet, but it should give you the overall idea still, right? You're leading them from a lead magnet, whether you're posting it on social or whether it's on a landing page. Either way, you still have to get people to raise their hand and say, hey, give me that thing. Whether it's free or it's paid, you're still trying to get people to raise their hand and say, I want that thing.
Okay.
Just like Eric does, right? Hey, send me an email and I'll send you the 6-minute video on blah, 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 right? Like you literally need people to go raise their hand and say, I want that thing. Because he knows everybody who does that is interested in his stuff. Right? That's where he's deciding who to follow up with most immediately, right?
Yeah, I hear you.
Go and make a testimonial. Go like and follow and share my social media post to get this resource. So every component you're creating not only becomes the course, but it becomes things you can give away, right? To get people to raise their hand and say, I want that thing.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah. Got it.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, ladies. This was great. I can't believe more people aren't here. You said you have like 100 members, right?
127 members, I think I have. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I've got
just-
about 100 or so too.
Although
but,
I was
you know.
just listening to a podcast today with does anybody follow Ed Milet? I really like Ed Milet. He's awesome.
I've heard of him.
So he just interviewed a young kid who's 28 years old who's making like $700,000 a month. Like
Oh my
he's great.
God.
He's insane. And you know what? He started when he's 23 now. So and he started in 2019. So how old would have that made him? He was in-
2019, that's what in 2026, that's 7 years ago. He
yeah.
said he's 23 now,
Yeah.
so that may would have made him 18.
Yeah. So he was
18?
him and his
15.
brother and his whatever. He was
16.
young.
It would have made him 16.
Mm.
Either way, young.
Oh my God.
Yes, yeah,
And
yeah.
Who did you
he
say was the
started
person who had this podcast?
the guy's
Ed
name is Ed
Barnett's
Milet.
podcast, right?
How do you spell that?
Ed,
Yeah.
Mylettee.
M
I'll
Y
forward you the email
T E
so you can listen
podcast.
to the podcast.
And
But
you're
the
saying
young
it's the
kid,
latest one?
well, it just came up in my email, so it's one of the
Okay.
latest, obviously. So he was talking about this kid, and I remember this kid, okay, because I saw him on TikTok. He would go up to people like millionaires with his fuzzy little mic, and he'd catch them like coming out of a restaurant. And he'd be like, "Hey, tell me, I'm interviewing like billionaires or millionaires. Tell me the secret to your success or whatever." And he would just like bamboozle them on the sidewalk, like he was chasing after them.
Mhm.
And so the whole thing was that's how he got started. And
Mhm.
now he's interviewed over 48 billionaires.
Yeah. He's got an
So
amazing podcast.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
called the School of Hard Knocks. That's what it's
School of
called,
Hard
I think.
Knocks. Yeah.
Yeah.
He interviewed one of my favorite mentors.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So he's
Very cool.
crazy. And he's like, so the whole podcast was just talking about how he overcame, things like, I mean, people that would overcome imposter syndrome. And how do you, like, you're young, how do you overcome being young and trying to make it in the world and all these kinds of things. And what stuck out for me though, during this interview was that when he first got started on Instagram, he had done over 400 posts and only 50 followers. And he's like, so most people would be like, oh, this shit ain't working. Like, I'm going to stop. And he's like, I just kept going and I just kept going and I just kept going and I just kept going. And then eventually something stuck. And now he's got like,
Wow.
he goes, now I post something and if it doesn't get a million views, it's like, I mean, everything he posts now, it's millions and millions and millions of views, right? Because he just stuck to it. And then he was borrowing
Persistent.
credibility. Yeah, he had persistence. He's like, he had a bunch of little cute sound bites, which I don't remember all of them, but one of the things he was like, virality is not the key, consistency is, right? Don't worry about going viral. Just worry about being consistent.
And that's
Because
the
at some
piece that
point,
everybody has such a hard time with is
Yeah.
they're looking for that magic pill. They think one or two. This is the reason I haven't started posting yet, because I am not prepped for the consistency and I don't want to do stuff one off here and one off there. I know I need to follow a plan and I don't have that plan in place yet.
so your consistency could be 3 times a week. That's it. And it could be something you need to start posting. It could be just something you're learning from Eric or me. You could
That's
literally
true,
go,
too.
hey, I just learned, this thing in whatever, right? You could be like, I just learned that, it could be just what we've had this conversation could be what you learned, right? Hey, I'm committing to getting more consistent in my posting because I learned it's not about virality, it's about consistency that grows your business. So this is me being consistent. It could literally be that. And then by the way, that's also a behind the scenes post from our thing, right? Like you could just follow the 30 days of the lab. Don't overthink it. Just post something. It doesn't have to be perfect. 3/4 of the time people aren't watching anyways. And they talked about that too. They said, if I was worried about what everybody thought, he goes, what that guy thinks of me doesn't put money in my bank account. So like it doesn't matter what he thinks about me. I don't care. I'm just doing what I need to do.
That's so
Right.
true.
The
So
truth.
one baby little post a day about anything. It doesn't even matter. You just need to be consistent. Because eventually somebody's going to go look you up. And when they see you're not posting anything, you don't look like you're in business. So one accounting tip a day. Get ChatGPT to write it. Take that micro course you just did and say, now create me, if it's 6 modules or whatever it was, just go create me 6, pillars, content pillars, or say, I only have time to consistently post 3 times a week. What are the 3 topics I should post about? Right?
Yep.
And just start where you can. And then you do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday post, and if that's all you do, then at least be consistent with that. Take the weekends off. And then eventually if you can add a Tuesday and a Thursday, great. And then a Saturday or a Sunday, great. But just start with 3 posts a week. One Monday, one Tuesday, one Wednesday, one Friday. About 3 content pillars that ChatGPT gives you based on the program it just outlined for you.
Mhm.
That'll start drawing people into that topic matter. right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta do that.
You don't think bookkeeping's even for irrelevant of chambers is not something that entrepreneurs need to think about? We all
They
need
need
to
to
think about
know.
it.
Yeah.
This is
Everybody
content
needs-
that will be valuable for everyone.
Mhm.
Maybe another niche, maybe another target market starts appearing its head out of the content you post. You have no idea who's
Never
watching
know.
you for
Yeah.
why. So start posting. Even if it's
Yeah.
little things like, hey, you know, while I was doing the books for blah, 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 I found this mistake. That you don't have to say for blah, blah, blah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, while I was helping a client, I noticed that somebody did a entry over here when it should be over here. So by the way, you know, hot tip, you know, car expenses don't go in the house expenses section. I'm clearly making it all up, right? But whatever the mistake is you found, just say, you know, most people think it should go here, but it really should go here.
Mhm.
Your tip for the day, just a tiny tip,
Yeah.
right?
Do you guys ever worry that you might say something, well, maybe not so much in your field, Kim, because it's more, there's a million ways to do something. And so there is no one right way and one wrong way. But Simone, maybe in what you're doing, when you work with an application, it's very much, there is a right way and a wrong way to do something. One
Mhm.
of my worries is that I'm going to say something with the short experience that I have in terms of the system that I'm using. And someone out there, this is going to sound crazy. Someone out there is going to call me out on it and say, no, in fact, you're wrong. You shouldn't be doing it that way. You should be doing it this other way. And it could be a way I'm not even familiar with. Like, do you worry about stuff like that?
No, not really. I mean, I tend to ask questions of people who have gone before you. Watch what they do, like, coaches, mentors. And then you work with like a pilot, working with a checklist. Make sure you include this, make sure you have this, make sure you have that, make sure you have that, so that you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's. Um, and then if you've forgotten something, the client will let you know. You go back, you add it, and move on.
I have another example for that. It's actually
Mhm.
something I just learned this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So this weekend I was away at that conference.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a conference on asset protection. So literally all like corporate structure,
So financial
legal
concept.
stuff. It was a
Okay.
financial conscious and setting up your, you know, whether it's a C corp, an S corp, a LLC, trusts, all that stuff for asset
Mhm.
protection. But they also were talking about taxation. And
Okay.
so I think this example is relevant because these guys that are advising on a high level for people that are mostly investing in real estate. So they had a client where they had a client who had a big W-2 income, like $170,000 a year approximately, W-2 income. The wife wanted to start some sort of a business, floral design business. So they were going to allocate startup costs of whatever it was for the Florida design business. But then the way, and again, I don't even know enough about this but whatever the way they advise, either C Corp or S Corp for like money flow through, somebody called them out on it, said, well, you should have blah, 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 because you could have written this against the high W-2 income and lowered their taxes. And so the advisors were saying, yes, and that is absolutely 100% true. However, and it was their CPA that told them this, like advised against what the advisors were saying. Like, no, 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 you should do this. And so the advisors got on the call with the CPA and said, yeah, but did you ask them what their long-term goals are or their short-term goals are over the next couple of years? Because their goal in the next 2 years is to buy a house. And if you go and write off that 50 grand of against the W, you're lowering his borrowing capacity and they won't qualify for the mortgage that they need to qualify for because you've made their income look smaller.
Mhm.
And he goes, and that's the difference between having an advisor versus just having a CPA who's looking at only one thing, which is the taxation.
Mhm.
So that just kind of reminded me of your thing is that you might have people call you out on your strategy, but they don't know necessarily the whole picture of what somebody else is trying to achieve. Right? So there could be more than one way. There was more than one way in that example for them to write their tax off
Mhm.
or write the startup costs off. But they were choosing a different model because they needed to keep that W-2 income high so that they
Because
could
of their
qualify for the
short-term,
right mortgage.
yeah.
Yeah. So somebody was advising for the tax strategy without knowing what the long-term goal was. And so there's always more than one way to do something. And in accounting, you're going to know that too, right? Like there's more than one way to write off things. There's more than one way to depreciate assets, right? So they were talking about real estate, about doing the regular depreciation
Mhm.
versus doing, I don't even remember what the name of it was anymore, but there was other ways to depreciate assets. Like there's a 5 and somewhere between 5 and 15 years, you can split out the assets because some shit will depreciate faster than others.
Yes, yeah.
So they were like, there's more than one way to do stuff often. So don't worry about what other people say. As long as you can, like you said, as long as you, and you said it at the beginning of this call, as long as you can justify why you're doing something to the person who it matters most to, then who cares what the other outside world is saying? Let them have their opinion.
Okay.
And
As
they
long as
will. They
you
will
can,
have their
yeah, as
opinions.
long as you can defend why you did something, well, like these guys could defend why they were doing something. They're like, well, here's why we're not taking the big tax write-off, because you're right. A big tax write-off sounds really juicy right now. However, this would totally kibosh their short-term goal of getting into a house in 2 years, because the bank's gonna need to see income for the past however many years.
Mhm.
And if you reduce it by half, it's gonna screw up their borrowing capacity, right?
I think
So
that's
once,
so important too. Like in that story you illustrated that they have multiple advisors. Well, one advisor is actually asking them what their goal is.
mm,
Where do you want to be in 5 years? What's your next biggest step? You know? And okay, now that we know that, now we can tailor how you're formulating your taxes or writing off your taxes,
Yeah,
all
well,
that
because you
fun
can't make
stuff.
those
So
types of decisions in a vacuum. It's
no,
not that always, it's no different than when we purchase. I mean, this is one of the things we did in travel, right? People were so focused on price versus, there was a big argument, price versus value,
mhm,
right? And so
big difference.
exactly, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, what's worth more? Do you want to stand on a 3-hour taxi line in, Rome airport in order to even get into the city because you didn't pre-order car service that maybe would have cost you an extra 10 or 20 euros, which is nothing compared to the 3 hours you had to stand out in the heat or the cold or whichever with your luggage because the line was so long for the taxis and you were basically
Yeah,
wasting
because you didn't
it.
know. Yeah,
Well, not so much because you didn't know, but because you were purely focused on price.
right.
And so if you're
Mhm.
purely focused on price, then you don't think that, and increase your bill by an extra 20 or 30 or even 50 will be able to get offset. Like
Yeah.
I had clients in this example that I charged them to book their flights, but they made that money back the moment, because we booked refundable flights and the price later dropped, I was able to rebook that at a much lower price immediately over the weekend when they sent
Right.
me an email.
Yeah.
So whatever my charge was, they made that back and then some as soon as we were able to reprice, and they didn't need to worry about now getting on the phone for however many hours with
To try and do it
United
themselves.
in
Yeah.
order to change their flights
Yeah.
around. Comes
Yeah.
back to value versus price. They made it back.
Mhm.
It's the same, I totally agree with that. It's the same kind of concept, but most people only focus on price. They don't really focus on
But
what
I
they're
think
getting.
the point for you was don't worry about what anybody else thinks. As long as you can justify what you did to the person you're doing it for, then I don't
Mhm.
think it matters. Let people have their opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Have your opinion. I was literally on a call today promoting an event that I'm speaking at where there's another book coach there. So I don't say this in front of him because this is what he promotes, but he promotes getting like Amazon reviews is his big thing. He's like, don't focus on vanity metrics like becoming a best-selling author. That's a vanity metric. What you really need to do is focus on reviews. And what I want to say is reviews are also a vanity metric, buddy.
Right.
Amazon
Yeah.
reviews do not put revenue in your bank account. Just like bestseller status doesn't put butts and seats in your program. But I never say that in front of him. I just say it when he's not on the call. But sending your clients to Amazon anytime is a bad strategy, in my opinion, because you have no idea who bought your book. You have no idea like who's getting that, who's the one raising their hand and saying, I'm interested in your thing because I've got the problem that you help solve. That's why I always say do it to a landing page, right? Does that mean I don't have my book on Amazon? Of course not. Of course I have my book on Amazon, but I could give a shit less about the reviews on Amazon or any of that stuff because I'm not sending people to Amazon to buy my book. I'm sending them my own landing page to buy my book because I want to capture their contact information, right?
Well, it gives you traceability,
It
right?
gives
And
me,
so
yes,
you
the
always want
list is
that.
more valuable to me than the review on Amazon. And
Mhm.
so to me, reviews on Amazon are also a vanity metric. He doesn't think so, but I do. So everybody can have their own opinion, and that's totally fine. So just don't worry about your opinion as long as you can justify why you're doing something, then the only person's opinion that counts is yours.
Mhm.
So that's my opinion. Take it or leave it. You don't have to take my opinion either. Right?
No, I appreciate it. This is the thing that scares me all the time is what if I say and it's not even client specific. If I say I believe in something and this is the way you should be paying attention to it this way. If someone can turn around and say, well, no, you shouldn't, like, that's just a wrong concept or a wrong thought or whatever. And I'm going, oh my God, how am I going to deal with that if someone
No.
decides to push back on whatever I say?
You're gonna put it into ChatGPT and say, how do I answer this politely? But here was also my strategy. I mean, I think I told you about one of my past clients. Freaking commented on one of my posts going, oh, I love all the spelling mistakes. Nice strategy.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
was just
I
like,
remember
what? I'm like, and then I went back to it and I'm like, shit, there was spelling mistakes. I'm like, not strategy. But I had put my whole idea, because I use ChatGPT all the time, so there shouldn't actually be spelling mistakes, but so I gave my whole idea of what I wanted to write about into ChatGPT on my computer. But then I was doing it in a reel as an overlay, text overlay, and I don't know how to do that properly on my computer. I do my videos on my phone. So I put up my thing, and then I had to push the record button, and I was reading what ChatGPT had written for me on the thing, reading it into my phone, and Siri, of course, made some spelling mistakes based on what I was verbally saying, and I didn't check it closely enough. So, whatever. At first, I was mildly insulted, and then I ended up just putting her comment into ChatGPT and go, okay, can you turn this into a lesson? Because I'm, whatever. And the irony is she's the only, she was one of my clients that came to my first ever Write Your Book at the Beach retreat in Mexico. Every single person that came to that retreat has published. One of my clients has published actually 8 times. She published the one she was writing at the retreat plus 7 more. And this girl who made that comment asked me if she's published yet.
Wow.
Well, maybe she should spend more time being concerned with that instead of commenting on it.
Exactly, right?
Bingo. So you also have to be
She's
like
just
consider
happy
the source.
trolling.
She's happy trolling and commenting on my spelling errors. So I ended up writing that in as the response, but in a very nice way, just going, hey, by the way, how's your book coming along? Because everyone else is published. I'd love to be able to support you when you get your stuff. Like, don't be commenting on my spelling mistakes. That's just, first of all, that's just mean. If anything, send me a private message and go, oh, by the way, I saw some spelling mistakes. Like,
No, because that would have been helpful, and I don't think she was trying to be helpful.
no,
She wasn't
I
trying
don't
to be
think she
helpful.
was. She was totally digging.
Was trying
So
to troll.
I kind of dug right back, but in a really nice, classy way.
Yeah.
And then I turned it into a whole nother post on, oh, by the way, on my thing. I was like, I got called out, and here's what I wanted to share about that. People are not everybody's going to like what you do, and some people are going to naysay, and some people are going to be like meanie pantses or whatever I said in my post, but really nicely. And I'm like, and so what? Who cares what other people think? Keep posting, keep showing up, keep being visible, keep doing the thing.
Yeah.
Because while they're, bitching and whining in the background, you're getting shit done. So go keep getting shit done. Keep shining your light, and don't worry about who calls you out on your crap. And I literally made a whole nother post about it after the fact.
Mm.
Because I was like, it is. Guess what, Miri? People are gonna comment on your stuff. People are gonna, the bigger you get, the bigger the target gets. Who
Yeah.
cares? Let them call you out. Guess what? It helps the algorithm. I was like, I could have said that too. Thanks for helping my post get up in the algorithm a little bit with your hateful comment. And I don't even care anymore, you know? It was just a good lesson, and don't worry about it. You just gotta like Eric says, water off a duck's back, right? You just kind of gotta let the punches flow. They're gonna at some point.
Okay.
And not because not always because somebody's trying to be hateful, but some people just they have a different view, right? We all have come from different perspectives, and as long as you can, justify your position or turn it into a learning lesson like I did, then it's okay. Let people make their comments. It's all good. By the way, you can always delete them if they're really that bad.
Yeah.
You can always don't though. I just let them go. I'm like, I think the negative comments just shows you're real,
Okay.
It does.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, sweetie.
Okay.
We'll see you tomorrow
Okay.
on the strategy call.
Yes. Hopefully
Okay.
I'll be a little more clear-headed by then.
It's all good.
Thank you. Thank you, Simone, as well. I
Okay.
hope you ladies
You're
have
welcome.
a great afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, you
Bye.
too. Bye.